Welcome to the Millionaire Mind Mastery series, guys. We're looking at the ways in which rich people think differently from the poor. This is episode 6. 2nd of February every year is Dr. Osei Kwame Despite's birthday. And if you've been in Ghana and you are a Ghanaian, and even if you're not in Ghana and then you're somebody who's been paying attention to how he celebrates his birthday, every 2nd of February is like a shutdown in Ghana. For those of you that do not know, Dr. Osei Kwame Despite is a business mogul in this country. He owns UTV, one of the biggest media companies in Ghana. He's an industrialist, has a couple of companies that produce salt, finance. He's just a business magnate and a force to reckon with in this country. And 2nd of February is his birthday. And I remember 2 or 3 years ago, his birthday, he bought a Bugatti, and people were talking all over, saying all sorts of things. Last year, his birthday, he did a Mercedes G-Wagon convoy to go do a donation. And for me, I had this friend of mine. I use had because just by something that he did and said, I decided to distance myself from that person. You know, I have this friend of mine, when Despite bought his Bugatti, he was of the view that Despite should have used the over $5 million that he spent on acquiring that investment and that machine to feed the poor. And he kept resenting Despite for it. And then I told him, I said, young man, if you keep going this way, you're going to be poor. You are never going to be rich, because when you resent the rich and you resent people who are successful, it doesn't add or subtract from them, but it subtracts from your happiness and your well-being. It leads me to talking to you guys about something that I have observed about the rich in terms of how they think. This is the Millionaire Mind Mastery series, episode 6. Rich people admire other rich and successful people. Poor people actually resent other rich and successful people. And remember that I gave a caveat at the introduction of this series, and I said when I say poor people, it's not to look down on anyone. And I established the fact that when we say somebody is rich, they are first rich in their minds, and when we say somebody is poor, they are first poor in their minds. And you see, one of the things that I always say, put a poor person into a nice furnished house, and his mindset will reflect on the things that are around him. You come back and everything in the place will be scattered, because everything around you is a report card. It tells us the quality and the state of your mind. So if you're a rich person, when we come around you, we can tell. Everything around you is a defined report card. If you're a poor person, when we come around you, we can also tell. Everything around you is a defined report card. So rich people admire other rich and successful people. Poor people, they resent the rich and successful, and you cannot, trust me, you cannot become like that. One of the things that worries people, and I always say this, how can you despise something that you seek to become? And you see, for lots of us, by means of our programming, we've been raised to think that rich people are stingy, rich people are this, rich people are that. It gets worse when you probably had a rich uncle that maybe your mom was dying or your father was dying, and then you needed money to pay for their hospital bills, and they had money and they didn't give, and you took a stance and then you said that I had a rich uncle who watched for my father to die. So you begin to resent them based on that specific incident that happened, and sadly it becomes something that is seated inside of you. So you see any rich person and then you're offended. You see any rich person and then you are hurt. Usually on social media, when a rich person does something and then sometimes they post it and I go through, the first thing I begin to see is people trying to advise them on how they should have used their money. But I'm like, if you had that money, you probably would never have done maybe the things that the rich person has done. And it is actually something that you need to understand. And so for me, when it comes to the rich as we have it, admire rich people. One of the things that I have built inside of myself, I may not have to know, your friend is saying, I may not have to know whose story, how they made their money whatsoever. I have a certain principle that I operate by. I respect, I honor every rich person. I remember, case in point, there's an amazing young man that I admire so much, Nana Kwame Bediako, Freedom Jacob Caesar, and a presidential aspirant for the new force. And before he ventured into politics, he's an entrepreneur. So a couple of interviews that he's granted, I've had people ask him, and some of the people did ask him how he made his wealth, what his story looked like, and everything. And guys, he shared a story of a hen and a cock story, and he shared the hen and a cock story of how he came into wealth. And I remember I saw one of the comments. Somebody was like, "Hey, now dako farms cry, or yeah, farming, or yeah, animal farming cry, or you saying." And I could outrightly tell that's somebody that's despising him. I see this young man flaunt his wealth and do the main things that he's been doing. And then I usually will get people come in and then they come and say things like, certain man, oh, we'll use this money to do this if it was us and all. People, if you build that mindset inside of you, trust me, you cannot attract what you despise. You will never become it. So there's something I want you to do. I want you to consciously decide that from today, you say to yourself, let's do it this way. I want you to place your hand on your forehead. When you place your hand on your forehead, say after me, I love rich people. Say after me, I love rich people. As you do it, type it in the comment. I love rich people. Say after me, I admire rich people. And say after me, I will become a rich person. This is something that I do every single time when I'm working on myself. I place my hand on my forehead and I say, Moses B. Arthur, I love rich people. Oh, I love and I adore rich people. Oh, I'm passionate about rich people. I celebrate and honor rich people. I give to rich people. I celebrate rich people. And most importantly, I will become a rich person. See, remember that I told you, how do you change your financial thermostat? By declaration. And I have taught that one of the ways to effect declaration is to touch yourself, so that the words that you say will reverberate with your body and it will reverberate with your entire being, and it will make manifestation quicker and easier. That is the reason why I said touch your forehead and say that you admire rich people. Say that you love rich people. Say that you give to rich people. Say that you support to rich people. And say to yourself, ultimately, that you become the rich person. I see some of you becoming the first richest people that your lineage and your families have seen. And if you believe, do type in the comment, amen, I am the richest my family and my entire lineage has seen. I hope that this content has blessed you. Like, share with someone. My name is Moses B. Arthur. Love and light. Cheers, guys.